Hi y'all. So this is my first video. It is January 7th, 6th or 7th of 2021, and there is a lot of stuff going on out there in the world. And I've kind of been meditating and praying on, you know, what is my mission exactly? Like, what do I need to be doing to help the collective? And I keep getting the message and keep being drawn back to the children, of course. I'm a mom of 6, and I have 3 older children and 3 younger children that are still at home. And so I have like so much experience doing all kind of different ways of parenting, schooling, all this stuff. So I would like to invite you guys to come along on this journey with us. This is the perfect time. Like, if you feel like school's not giving your kids what they need, or you've been feeling like that for a long time, like I was, or they're having problems with their doing the online schooling, it was really messing with my 14-year-old daughter's mental health. Sitting in front of a camera in front of everybody for 8 hours a day just is not healthy at all. And so where do I start? Okay. Let's see. Okay, and I don't usually look like this. We were kind of playing dress up today, and the girls were putting dresses on and lipstick and stuff. So I may look totally different in my other videos, but that's okay. It's fun, right? Okay, so anyways. So my first 3 children that are grown, they went through public school. The whole time I knew that the stuff the schools are teaching is based on lies and propaganda, and that they're basically brainwashing our children into being like little robots, right? Little robots to go work for other people and make other people rich. They're not allowed to think on their own. They're not taught how to learn. They're only taught to memorize specific things that I want to say like the people running the world. Do you know what I mean? Like the politicians and the ones in charge of everything. So they only want the kids to learn their propaganda, right? And they just want them to memorize it. Another thing is I'm about to read a book called Dumbing Us Down. I can't think of the author right now. But another author, also, sorry to bounce around, is Dana Martin. I actually found her years ago, and she has just come back into my life. And she is an unschooler, a radical unschooler, which I'll explain all of that, what that is. That's basically what we're going to be doing. And the path that I'm asking you to join me on is radical unschooling. So going back, so my 3 children went through public school. My 14-year-old did too. She was already in the system when it was driving me crazy. I wanted to pull my kids out of school, but I had to work as a single mom. So I had to work, and I didn't know how I could do it. And so my daughter was put into daycare and then into school, into the whole system that we're fed into, right? The whole paradigm of working for someone else, and literally for pennies, right? Like you're not even, you're living paycheck to paycheck. So obviously, this isn't ideal for anyone. And so my 14-year-old, she was in school. I have been trying to convince her to drop out with me. Like, I hate the word drop out. That's another thing. I'm going to be retraining myself to write along with you guys. So, and correcting the vocabulary that we are used to and that we've been brainwashed with. Saying drop out makes it sound like they are, unaccomplished and like, you know, like a failure, right? And so I don't like that word. So anyways, I've been trying to convince her to get out of school, and her dad wasn't really with it at first, well, ever really. And she was scared because, you know, she's been taught you have to go to school, then go to college, then you work, you know, this whole thing. And we're brainwashed to think that's the only way, right? So, but she's miserable at school. Like, everybody's getting bullied, everybody has anxiety now. So many kids are on prescription drugs because this is not how children are supposed to be raised. This is not how humans are supposed to evolve, locked in a building, you know, for 8 hours a day for 12 years of their life. Like, that just, I don't even have words. Like, it's so obvious to me. And if you go back and you look into, I think his name is John Holt, and he explains, you know, where even the idea of school came from, and that back when they want to make mandatory school, they actually had to take our children at gunpoint because parents were like, no, you're not indoctrinating our children. We're going to raise our children. So if you kind of go back and do some research into where school came from and exactly what it was created for and what it was created to do, I think that'll open up your mind to a lot of what I'm gonna be saying and doing on this channel. Again, sorry for jumping around. I have so much to say. Okay, so my 14-year-old never wanted to leave, mainly because of her friends, right? They don't want to leave their friends. It's like their only support system, right? Because honestly, they're taken away from us all day, every day. Most of us are at work all day. By the time we see our kid at home, they've got hours of homework, then get ready for, eat dinner, get ready for bed, and, you know, do it again. And then on the weekend, you know, they want to hang out with their friends. So it's literally destruction of the family, right? It's a complete destruction and breakdown of the family. Of the family unit, you know, as a family, we're strong, and break them apart and we become weak, and we follow the masses, and we follow what we're told, and we follow what everybody else is doing and what we're told we should be doing. So I found this Unschooling, I found Dana Martin, and everything she said just completely made sense. I was like, oh my God, I can do this. This is what I'm doing. And then when I got pregnant with my 9.5, she's 9.5 now. When I got pregnant with her, I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not going to send my kid to daycare at like, 12 weeks old, 6 to 12 weeks old, send my kid to daycare and then to school and do all that. No, I want to raise my own children. I want to be with my children. So I started figuring out, how the heck am I going to do this? And honestly, I don't know how the heck I did it, but I put it out there and I just did it. I just did it. Like, you can just do it, okay? Figure it out. Like, you're smart people, figure it out. So she's never been to school, and now I also have a 4-year-old. They've never been to school. They will never step foot inside of a school. I have saved her. She is such a well-rounded, artistic, beautiful human being. She's never been subjected to the bullying that happens to every single child at school, okay? I don't care how popular your kid is, how good at sports they are. I don't care. Everyone's getting bullied. Everyone feels shitty about themselves, whether it's grades and being compared to other children and put in special classes because you're too smart or you're not smart enough. All of that stuff has stigma attached to it. And best believe all the kids tease you about it. And I know you can think back to when you went to school and you know this is all true. You know what I'm saying is all true. And think back to yourself, how much did you hate school? Like genuinely, most people hate school. They don't hate learning. That's the conundrum, right? Like, we don't hate learning, but we think we do. By the time we're an adult, we think we hate learning because we've been so programmed and forced to learn these things that really we're not interested in and that have no bearing in our life whatsoever. Like, we as children know, like, why am I learning this? It doesn't even apply to my life. I don't need this information. And so I ask you to go back within and remember those times when you were a child and why you hated school and were you bullied. And I even want to say, like, the children at school, none of them want to be there. The only reason, if you ask all the kids about school, is their friends, right? They want friends. And the whole thing about unschooling is you don't segregate your children into age restricted friend groups, right? Your children are allowed to meet and interact with people of all ages, all races, all economic, everything. There's no limit to, like, who you get to hang out with. And that's not healthy. That's not healthy, locking them into an age group where, you know, some of them are excelling and growing at, well, all of them are accelerating and growing at different rates. They're interested in different things at different times, which is another thing. We are not all meant to be doing the same thing. That goes back to the dumbing us down and the purpose of school. They want the general public to all be mediocre at everything, so that it's easier to control us and it's easier to get us to sit down and shut up and do our job and not question authority, right? That's literally what they're doing, training us for 12 years, is to sit down, shut up, don't question authority, and do as you're told. Don't ask no questions. Do not dare think. Okay, don't think on your own. Don't have your own ideas. People get fired for having their own ideas of how to help companies. That's how ridiculous this is. So as you get on this journey and start waking up and start healing from your childhood, it's a billion-dollar a year, multi-billion-dollar a year industry now, the self-help industry and the spiritual, like, awakening community. The reason for that is we are all trying to heal from our childhood traumas. And I would like to say being locked in a prison, because I'm not going to call it school anymore, because that's not really, it's prison, okay? It's a prison. Down to having to ask permission if you can go to the bathroom and being told no, to where you're not allowed to interact with your friends or talk. You have to do the work exactly as you're told. No quicker, no slower, exactly the same as everyone else. The bell system tells you when you can get up and go, where you're supposed to be. The prison system is exactly the same. That's no coincidence, okay? That's no coincidence. So as you come on this awakening journey, I would like to expand your mind beyond healing from our childhood traumas, and let's just go ahead and save the children from their childhood traumas, okay? So we are going to change the collective. That's what we're going to do here. And you guys are going to come right along with me on this journey and see where it takes us, right? We have nothing to lose, especially right now. Well, the schools have been closed anyways, which, I don't think that was, that's no mistake. Like, everything is happening how it's supposed to be happening. So, I'm going to open your mind and broaden the way you look at learning and children. Those are the two things. So, it's a peaceful parenting is what this is called, peaceful parenting. And I have children who have been through the system, graduated high school. I have a child that's 14 that's been up until 9th grade and then her high school is closed now, so she had to do online. She never got to start high school. So I have a transition child that's trying to unschool, which is deprogram all of those years of programming. And I also have 2 children that have never been to school. So I have like the whole spectrum. So we're gonna, follow me, and we'll help each other along the way with ideas, and we find out stuff, we'll share it with each other. But the whole idea is children's rights. So if you're an animal rights activist, you're a vegan, you're a civil rights activist, especially with all the stuff going on right now, you definitely should also be a child advocate. It literally goes hand in hand. But we've been brainwashed to think of children as, seen and not heard, right? How many times have we heard that? We are a behavior-based society where everything is based on behavior modification and punishment. So we are going to learn together. We are going to learn how to change that. And we are going to start addressing whatever the needs of the child is that is causing the behavior. Because if you can fix the needs of the child, the behavior won't exist. And when you have an authoritarian home, like over your children, we have authoritarian relationship with your children, it automatically pits them against you. You're automatically the enemy because you're the punisher, right? And so they are forced to lie to us. They are forced to hide things from us. And they don't believe anything we say because they believe the information we're giving them is to manipulate them into doing what we want, which is true, right? It's mostly true. So even when we try to give them good, useful information, they don't really believe it because we haven't built that trust with our children. There's no respect there. So when you want to get upset and yell at your child for doing something, ask yourself, would I yell at my husband or wife or my best friend or my pastor or someone important to me in my life, my mother or father, would I condemn them for the same behavior? Or would I let it go? Because as adults, we're allowed to have the spectrum of emotions that humans have. But children aren't allowed that. They're not allowed to have breakdowns and be overstressed and overtired and act out. When we do it all the time. We have a thing called PMS where women get a whole week a month to just, be bitches, right? So I just want you to start looking at your children. Treat them literally the way you want to be treated. If you don't want them screaming and yelling at you, then we have to stop screaming and yelling at them. And let me tell you, I still scream sometimes. I was a screamer. I was a butt spanker for many years. My first 3 children, all 3 of them, my first 3 children, got spanked. That's all I knew. That's what I thought we were supposed to do, like beat them into submission, right? The spanking never worked. Like, honestly, come on, like the spanking never worked. All it did was make my children hate me probably. My older children tell the little ones now, like, you don't know how good you have it. And that's because, I've grown as a person. I've grown as a human being. And I want to extend that to my children. I want my children to be happy above all else. And if we can raise these children to be happy and follow their dreams, trust their intuition, that's another thing we lose in school. We are so forced, and with authoritarian parenting, we are so forced against what we know in our hearts to be our truth, or let's say, for instance, clean your plate. Do you know how much that's caused obesity and diabetes and eating disorders? because we have been trained out of listening to our bodies. We have been force-fed, literally, to eat when we're not hungry and not allowed to eat when we're hungry, and all of this craziness, all because the system was made that way. But it's time for a revolution, and we're going to do this revolution together. It's a spiritual revolution, it's a children's right revolution, and a spiritual birth revolution. I'll get into that later. But it all goes hand in hand from birth. So I really hope you guys will come with me on this journey. I'll be sharing along the way. My 14-year-old, I wanted to interview her for the channel, but she has social anxiety really bad, which I believe was caused from forcing her to go to school. So I might just read her answers, or she might be off camera or something, but we're going to definitely get the kids' input on school and transitioning out, and, you know, the fears and everything, because that's scary, right? Like, you've been told if you don't graduate high school, you're never going to be shit. Like, you're not going to amount to shit. Well, the truth is, most all these kids graduating high school, guess what? They still don't know what they want to be when they grow up. They still don't know what their interests are, because they've never been asked. They have never been asked, what are you interested in? What would you like to learn? So when you ask these kids that have been programmed in prison their whole life, they don't even know. They don't know how to follow their intuition. They don't even know what they want anymore, because it's literally been trained out of them to go against their natural instincts and their natural path, their heart-led path. It's literally trained out of us so that we can be worker zombies that just get the job done and, you know, don't ask no questions and don't think. Please don't think. So yeah, I don't know what else to say. So a couple of things you can look up to get started with me is Dana Martin, Dayna, Dana Martin. I think she has a Facebook. I'm just starting to find her again. She's on Instagram. Her YouTubes are very old, like back like 6, 7 years, 13 years. But I am learning just as much from her old videos. You know, go watch them anyways. It will expand your mind. Go find out who she is. John Holt is one of the authors that I will be reading and we'll be talking about. And I forgot the other author, but he wrote Dumbing Us Down. He was a New York school teacher and won like the like school teacher of the year for like 4 years in a row. And then he retired and was just like came out and told the truth, that they're dumbing us down, that school is not good for the children, that it's all basically a program. It's all programming system, just like television program. So yeah, that book, Dumbing Us Down, I'll be reading that, and I hope you guys will too. So I'm excited. I'm so excited. I'm so excited that my 14-year-old finally agreed to open her world up. And hopefully it doesn't take too long to deprogram her out of school. I actually called the school today and took her out. She's no longer enrolled. And they actually had the freaking nerve. I just made up a lie because I didn't feel like arguing with them. So I was like, oh, I'm putting her in the K through 12 online school. So I'm pulling her out of your school, like immediately, effective immediately. And they were like, okay, well, usually we don't do that until we get the paperwork from the new school. But I'm just going to go ahead and let you do that since it's an online school. So it might take a few weeks for us to get it. And if we don't get it, we'll be calling you and getting a hold of you. And go ahead, call me. I don't have nothing to do with y'all. Matter of fact, I'm going to go pick up my kids' records. How much you want to bet they won't give them to me? My own child's school records. Bet they won't give them to me, but I'm going to try. Yeah, but the nerve. These are my children. How dare you? I have to ask permission to take my child somewhere or spend time with my child. If my child's having a mental health day or just, fuck, we want to go do something together as a family, we're not allowed to do that because they're in prison 5 days a week. And then homework on top of that. So it's really, 6, 7 days a week. It's just insane. And as your mind opens to the topics and things we're going to talk about, like, it has blown my mind, and I hope it blows all your minds wide open too. So I welcome all of you, and thank you very much, and I look forward to our little unschooling tribe. Oh, so unschooling, just a little quick, unschooling means basically no school, right? But it's learning. So child-led learning, these are topics and things you can look up. Child-led learning, and just learning through life, right? Like, you'll learn math by baking, or doing money, handling money. You'll learn how to read when you're interested in reading things, then you will want to read. And when the children want to learn something, they learn it way faster, and they retain the information 90% more when they're interested in the subject. Okay? And these are all scientific facts. Like, you can go check all these. This has all been proven like years and years and years ago, probably back to the 70s or earlier. But yeah, so unschooling and radical unschooling is taking that a step beyond not just school, but it's a peaceful parenting approach. So not only are you giving them free range in their learning, but you're giving them free range in other things, like eat when they want to eat, refusing food if they're not hungry, and the things they would like to eat. Their bodies know what they need. That's what cravings are. We have cravings because our body wants something and it's trying to get us to, ingest it. What clothes they get to wear, whether they want to cut or dye their hair, that's going to be a hard one for a lot of people. Letting their little girls cut their hair or letting their little boys dye their hair, that's going to be a big one. And it goes way beyond that, of course, to piercings and having complete, I forgot what it's called, having complete body autonomy, to free choice what they do with their own bodies, basically. It will be their choice, no one else's. Because who knows better than you about your own self, right? So I know there's going to be a lot of questions, and I'll answer what I know, and what I don't know we'll figure out together. But I'm really excited because our children need this. Our world needs this. Everybody wonders why it's full of narcissists right now, and the suicide rate in children is higher than it's ever been. This is why. Because they are literally living in a prison. Not just at school, at home, with the authoritarian behavior modification and punishment. So this peaceful parenting will raise those children who don't need to heal from their childhood traumas. That's what you guys post, right? You post that on your Facebook and your Instagram about, raising children that don't have to heal from their childhood traumas. This is how you do that. And it's going to go against everything you've ever learned, every way you've been raised. It's going to trigger you. Like, you're going to have to do a lot of healing and deprogramming right along with the kids. And that's okay. They need to see you actively doing that. And I think that's all for tonight. So thank you. I'm really excited to take this journey with you. Oh, my name is Yamuna Juanita. You can call me Yamuna or Juanita. So yeah, I love you all, and let's do this, tribe.